Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at my favorite filming spot location because guess what? We got a Florida sunshiny kind of day, some nice greenery behind us, and we have a performance luxury SUV from that iconic Japanese brand. What is it? It's a 2023 Infiniti Q50, but guess what? This is the Q50 Red Sport. But before we get into this maximized twin turbocharged all-wheel drive performance sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. Infiniti. It is that luxury brand of Nissan. Been around since 1989, and I can remember vehicles like the Q45 and then everything that would follow after it. And it's interesting because Infiniti kind of lost their way a little bit. Now, with this Q50, especially this being a Red Sport 400, it's interesting because it's been around since 2013 and basically has not had any major changes to it. Now, what's fascinating though is when you look at it, it still has a nice modern overall style, which it's kind of crazy to think that this shape has been pretty timeless. Now, of course, the rest of the auto industry has moved on. And when you look at its main competitors from Lexus, from Audi, from Mercedes, AMG, and BMW, they really have upped the ante. But what I want to find out is, if you're looking for a luxury performance sedan that has a timeless style, but also has some performance behind it, is this Q50 Red Sport 400 the better one to get over the mighty BMW M340i? Let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the color. It might look like it's a metallic black on camera, but believe it or not, it's a very, very deep forest green. And it actually surprised me because when Infiniti delivered this vehicle to my house the other day, it was overcast, and I just assumed it was a black sedan. But when I got to the filming spot location today, I was like, wow, that color looks spectacular. Now, at the front of the business, you're gonna have that older headlight design style. It's like, even if they would have just made some slight changes with the headlights, it would be a different story. But you can see the older style with the bright silver on the interior. You do have an LED projector beam headlight and LED daytime running lamps. And then down below, we do have LED turn signals, and to top it off, LED fog lamps. The one zonk I'm gonna have to give it is this fake vent around it. I wish that they would just make this little bezel larger and just keep it smooth rather than putting the fake vent. But I do like the very aggressive corner splitter that it has. It is a metallic gloss black. So the paint job is a deep metallic green. This extra trim is gonna be gloss black all the way around this fog lamp area. Now, as we come across that low slung nose, this is what I'm talking about when I say timeless. The style of this grille and front fascia, to me, still looks fantastic. Now, on this particular one, everything is blacked out. So we have the gloss black trim around the perimeter of the grille. We have this really neat Infiniti badge. It's actually flat black, but if you notice, there's white behind it. It illuminates at night. So very, very cool to have that illuminated Infiniti badge in the center. We do have a forward-facing camera, and they hit it very, very well. And then you'll notice the design of the actual grille is like water. And I really think that this is stuff that separates Infiniti from BMW. On the lower portion, same thing, that flowing water area. But let me know what you think about the front. If they would have just tweaked the headlight housings and gave it some new interior lighting on the headlights, I think that this would be bang on, spot on the money. I'm still liking it more than the BMW personally, but let me know down in the comment section what you think about the front end of this Q50. Now, as we rise up, I love the shape of the hood, especially with the peaks and the valleys. It's all about the peaks and the valleys. Just like Lewis and Clark had to go through the peaks and the valleys to get to all those new destinations. To have that style really gives it, I think, that timeless concept that the BMW doesn't have. It just doesn't have. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So on this Red Sport, you're gonna get these nice gunmetal metallic multi-spoke wheel. It's a 19-inch wheel. You'll see that bright red Infiniti badging on the enlarged caliper. You get that 4-piston caliper. And then remember, we have adaptive dampers all 4 corners to give you that luxurious ride, but also give you the sporty ride as well. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of this tire? You're basically looking at, when it comes to this setup, 245 on the width and a 40 series sidewall. Like I said, 19-inch wheel. I do like the pop of the red calipers. And style-wise, I think it fits in nicely with this Q50. Now, as we come down the side, super clean, no stuck-on vents or anything like that. That's all fake. Love the way you have a nice belt line, a very beefy belt line. You're gonna notice gloss black on the mirror caps. It does have the larger turn signal. So just like the headlights being ginormous, those are a little too large for me. Subtle changes would really change the identity, the whole identity of this vehicle. Another thing I'm not a big fan of is the chrome. I wish it was either all color matched, and you can see all that metal flake. It's like a bass fishing boat, all that metal flake in the green, but the chrome has gotta go. You do have a standard size sunroof. I know what you're saying, Joe, no panoramic sunroof, standard size sunroof. I do think it was smart the way they put black chrome around the window frame opening. So that I really like, and because this is the Q50 and not the Q60, you have the 4-door sedan. If you want a coupe, you can still get it. You go Q60. Now, working our way towards the rear, 245s all the way around. You'll notice that we still have those beefy calipers on the back. They didn't go cheap with the calipers. And know that this has all-wheel drive. So just like the BMW, this has all-wheel drive. We swing it around back. What do we got going on here? Full LED lighting. I like the way they kind of fog out the turn signal area just a little bit, but all LED lighting. We have, of course, our carbon fiber trunk-lid spoiler. Real carbon fiber. They blacked out the Infiniti badge, both the word and the badge itself. Q50S, all-wheel drive, and then on that lower diffuser area, that's the same exact exhaust off the new Nissan Z. So you have that slash cut, very ornamental design with all the little holes punched in, and I like this rear diffuser. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood of this Infiniti and see what's powering it. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts, like the engine cover says, and it's actually a pretty attractive engine cover. We have the twin turbo V6. Now, your standard Q50 is gonna have 300 horsepower, but like I said at the start of this video, we have the Red Sport, and that means Red Sport 400. So we have a 3-liter twin turbo V6, 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 7-speed automatic. Now remember, the BMW is mated to an 8-speed automatic, and the BMW is a straight-six single turbocharged engine that has around 380 horsepower. This, with the 7-speed automatic, has all-wheel drive. The vehicle weighs 4,019 pounds, 0 to 60 in about 4.4 seconds, and top speed 155 miles per hour. So interesting to think this engine has been around since 2013, because think about it, in the new Nissan Z, this is the engine. And we're talking about the 2023, 2024 model year Z. But interesting how they went and kept it compared to BMW. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see this thing rip. All right, guys, we are inside this 2023 Infiniti Q50S Red Sport 400. It's a mouthful, but do you get a mouthful of performance and luxury? That's the big question. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've always wanted an Infiniti. I remember my dad had an Infiniti G37 when I was growing up, and I kind of miss it. and I don't want to go get one of those. I want something new. I'm kind of liking this. How much is it? So this one being a Red Sport 400 with all the bells and whistles, you're looking at an MSRP of $62,000. Let's see how it compares to the BMW, to the door panels. I do love the style. You have that sort of black chrome satin finish, carbon fiber, the real deal carbon fiber all around the door handle. We have the Bose sound system with those pretty aluminum speaker grill covers, the red stitching, because this is the Red Sport 400, and even the way they did that diagonal pattern there, it just looks classy. Now the door pocket is super tight, so maybe just 2 cheeseburgers from McDonald's, you can't even get extra onions, and a small Pepsi to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, yes, you have the older style, but is that necessarily a bad thing? Because of the way the dash is styled, you actually have a lot of passenger room here, which is nice. More of that great red stitching, and then more of the carbon fiber. Now, as we slide in, up top we have red stitching, so I do like that cohesive touch. And then you're basically gonna get the same screen setup that Noah used to navigate his Arc to a better place. So we have a 7-inch screen up top. This is full touchscreen, which is nice. And then you have an 8-inch screen, touchscreen on the bottom. So this is where you could scroll through all the different options very easily to what you want to bring up, but you could always have the navigation up, which is kind of nice. So some people gravitate towards this. Me personally, I'd rather have just one screen. Let me know how you feel about this split screen setup. I guess the best news is that it's integrated. So it's not sticking out anywhere. You do have real buttons for your dual climate control, passenger, driver, which is nice. And then we keep sliding down. You have a CD player. So get your Pearl Jam out, get your Salt and Pepper, and you could rock out just like it was 1991. Open up this little gloss black door. You have a little place for 2 canisters of Tic Tacs and a 12 volt. Close that up. Carbon fiber everywhere. The red stitching everywhere. You do have a direct drive control knob. So if you don't like to touch the screen, you could use this. We do have a drive mode selector switch, which is great. And I'll show you back on the screen all the different functions here. So you have personal, Sport Plus, Sport, Standard, Eco, and Snow. I kind of do like the graphics. It does look like it's from a Super Nintendo. Like today's technology would be, online, but that definitely is Super Nintendo quality. 2 cup holders. I miss Super Nintendo though, so to me that's a good thing. You have that same key fob. I actually have it upside down. Shame on me. Noah used this. Same thing. Soft material with the stitching. Open it up. You got another 12 volt, an aux jack, a USB-A, a USB-C, and you could probably put, I would say, 8 Super Nintendo game cartridges in there. So if you have Super Mario 3, maybe you have Super Mario Kart and some of the other classics, you could put them in there. I can't believe I'm saying classic and Super Nintendo in the same sentence. That's making me feel old, and I don't like that. Seats, the leather, the red stitching throughout, soft material. Love the way they did the diamond pleating on the bolstering. Full electric assist for the passenger, full electric assist for the driver, of course, and then we have that manual shade for our standard sunroof. Would be nice to have a panoramic at $62,000. But why don't you get your butt over here? I have a leather wrap steering wheel with red stitching I want to show you. Come on over. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings. I do like the aluminum sill plate with the Infiniti name. Lights up LED at night. And then a pedal box right out of a race car. Aluminum dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. You do have your seat controls, easy to get to. And what I want to point out is this guy right here. This is actually for power adjustment on the bolstering. And you have a manual hammy extension. So if you want a little bit of cushion underneath your hammies, you can just pull this out or tuck it back in. Very easy. Lots of space in here. I actually think you have more room in here than you do in an M340i. I'm 6 feet tall, not even close to the headliner. Steering wheel, leather all the way around, the same red stitching. You got that aluminum finish, which is nice. We do have paddles. They are plastic, but the BMW is plastic as well for the 7-speed automatic. And we do have a power tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then the dash. I'm old school, I'm digging it. It's an analog tach, speedometer, coolant gauge, and fuel gauge, and then you kind of have a little bit of a hokey digital display in the center with certain information. Nothing out of the extraordinary, and there is no head-up display, which I think is another zonk on this one. But like I said, if you like that old school feel, you could have some of that in here, and they are very easy to read, especially at night because they're backlit LED. But speaking of back, let's get into the back seat because we're going back to the future in this Infiniti. All right, guys, back seat time, and this is one place where the Infiniti definitely lays the smack down on the BMW M340i is the amount of room back here. Definitely feels fantastic. Not even close to the headliner. Backs of the seats, you have the leather. Got a little bit of this plastic, which is not my favorite, but I do like the solid pockets. You could easily put the whole trilogy of Back to the Future in here. And yes, my favorite is the original, but I also like Back to the Future 2. Lori does not like Back to the Future 2. She actually likes Back to the Future 3 more, which to me, Back to the Future 3 is just a big waste of time. But you could have the whole trilogy back here, DVDs of course, unless you want to do VHS, that's your business. You do have AC vents, a little bit of trim around them, a USB-C and a USB-A, which is nice. And then I have my own pocket here, which is great. But the room is nice. You got a good old crap handle. Well, not a crap handle. You don't want to pull this in crap. That would probably be kind of disgusting. But it's an crap handle when you're freaking out. And one thing I want to point out before we get to the back of the seat, you see how high the tunnel is here? That's because we have that drive shaft, because this is all-wheel drive. Remember, it's rear-wheel drive base, but there's a drive shaft that sends the power to the rear for the rear-wheel drive, but then we also have power going to the front. So that's why that tunnel is so large. Speaking of large, look at this bad boy. Charmin soft. Flip it up, 2 cup holders, and you got a pass-through, which is great. So if you have your little gnome back there that feeds you snacks whenever you're hungry, it's easy to get to the pass-through right through the center here. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the trunk and check out that gnome in this Infiniti. All right, guys, time to get into the trunk area. What you're gonna do is you're gonna search for the button. It's somewhere around here. Here it is, under in of Infiniti. That makes sense. I wanna get in. You hit the button, lift it up, you're gonna be greeted to 14 cubic feet of space. Now, it is a little tighter than the BMW, the M340i, but what I like is how low the cargo floor is. You do have a pass-through, and the seat, the rear seat does fold down. It's very simple. You're just gonna pull one of these tethers that has the image of the rear seat to fold it down. One thing to remember though, just like the M340i, this does not have a spare tire. So we're trying to cut some weight, I guess, because of this being a Red Sport. Would be nice to have a spare though, but why don't we go ahead, let's put our money where our foot is and go on throttle in this Infiniti. All right, guys, we are inside this 2023 Infiniti Q50 Red Sport 400. I have the drive mode selector switch into Sport Plus, which is that highest setting, and I'm just gonna let the 7-speed automatic do its thing. Then we'll switch it into manual mode, and I'll use the plastic flippers on the back, the paddles, to shift up and down the 7-speed. But if you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna launch it from a dead stop. On throttle, here we go. Yeah. Smooth shift from that 7-speed automatic. The one thing to remember though, what I'm not really jiving with is the sound that's being pumped in through the speakers. It really does sound artificial, and it's funny because I feel like the exhausts out back have a pretty decent sound for real. So I would like to feel and experience more of the real stuff and not the fake stuff. But like I said, the 7-speed does shift very smoothly. Now the all-wheel drive kept us planted, no slip, all grip, and we're gonna take this through some twisty bits to really see what this steer-by-wire system is all about. Because remember, that's what separates this from a lot of the other vehicles, including the BMW, is we're not saying that this has just an electric rack. We're talking about that the full steering is electric, and that is where
there comes some discrepancy on the feel when you're turning the steering wheel compared to how the wheels are turning. And we're gonna see how that feels in the twisty bits. Other than that, getting to the dual screen setup is well within reach. These seats are so freaking good. I actually really like them. Could use a little bit more bolstering, but from a comfort standpoint, they are spot on the money. Now I am gonna take the shifter, pull it to myself, to pull it to the driver's side, and I'm gonna use the paddles. You do have a small gear indicator in the lower left corner of the little digital gauge cluster, but we're gonna do first gear from a roll. On throttle, here we go. On the brakes. Yeah, see, you can feel it. I can feel it. Pretty quick shifts. Nice downshift there. But it's crazy because what I'm feeling is like I'm turning the wheel and then I could actually feel the motors in the system and it doesn't feel natural. It feels artificial. Is it 100% terrible? No, but it definitely feels better in the BMW M340i. You just feel more connected to what the front wheels are doing and where the position of the steering wheel is. Now, when it comes to acceleration, I think it's plenty quick. Obviously, the BMW is a little quicker. That does 0 to 60 in about 3.8 seconds. Remember, this is around 4.4 second 0 to 60. But it's just that weird driving sensation with the steering wheel that kind of throws me off a little bit. But the good news is the upshifts and the downshifts are very, very quick and very smooth. But I'm in second gear right now, doing about 25. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go. All the way out to red line. So I think the nice thing about the chassis is that it's very well balanced. And when I'm going through those long, quicker bends, it feels really planted, especially with the all-wheel drive. It's just, if they could do something different with the steering and maybe bring a little bit more real noise into the cabin, but everywhere you're touching, I mean, feels good. I like the carbon fiber. The split screen is like a love it or hate it kind of thing, so I think that's gonna be up to you. And then a full digital display would be nice to kind of just make it feel more modern. But I'm in second gear now. On throttle, here we go. Nice torque. On the brakes, brakes feel good. Yeah, that was pretty good. But it just doesn't feel as connected as the BMW does. And it's funny because remember, just a few years ago, the BMW had lost its way. They've been wrangling it back to where that ultimate driving machine should be. I'm curious what they're gonna do with this car. Are we gonna finally see a redesign after 10 years of existence? I think it's definitely due for it, and I think that if they could keep a lot of the same design philosophy, but just update the whole powertrain and some of the technology, I think you got a great luxury performance sedan. I mean, what's great about it is that you definitely stand out from a sea of BMWs and Mercedes and Audis in this Infiniti. And I've actually had a couple people ask, hey, what is that car? Because with the blacked out badges and stuff, right away they're not identifying it as an Infiniti. So kind of cool from that standpoint. But I'm just glad that we're able to bring it to you. You know, it's nice to still touch on things even if there hasn't been a major redesign in 10 years, especially with 400 horsepower. But we're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I will see you in a split second. All right, guys, been a fun-filled day here in the Tampa Bay area. Definitely want to thank Kyle and the rest of the crew over at Infiniti USA for getting us access to this press fleet vehicle, the Infiniti Q50 Red Sport 400.
Let me know what you think. Isn't it a little long in the tooth? Are you happy with this timeless design, or are you gonna spend your money on that German Euro competitor, the BMW M340i? Let me know down in that comment section, but if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rise family. We need to give it up, LG Raiti. Lori Raiti, she's working at Camera Like a Champ. Follow her on Instagram. It's simple, it's just Lori Raiti. Because she does some amazing pictures at the events we go to and all the different Instagram reels. Check them out, follow her. Thank you, Lori, for all your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.